Hey there, this is John Barton from JB Cases. So tonight I'm just going through, helping a couple of my buddies fix up a couple of their cases that are not JB cases. These are Volturi cases, and yeah, I'm just this one here I had on camera the other day when I was taking it apart and showing that the reason that I'm dealing with it is because the leather has shrank here, so I've got to modify the interior so it'll be down. But now I'm kind of in a dilemma because I don't necessarily want to put it back together the way it is, because this is what's in the bottom. I don't know if you guys can even see this. There it is. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is so this is the piece that's in the bottom, right? So kind of EVA foam, as you can see right here. You can see the chalk on there and everything. Now that's okay. That's good. That's like flip-flop material. You know, that's good stuff right there. This piece of wood's probably okay. But the bottom, you know, the nails, everything were crap. But this is the thing that pisses me off with this. Look, check it out. This is as far in as this goes. So I'll put it here for comparison, right? So right there is as far in as that goes. See? Set it up like that. So what is that? Right about there, right? Would you say? Oh, right about there. So now, when we look inside here, we see that I can put my finger in and I still cannot touch. Make sure you guys can see that. I still cannot touch where this ends. Now that is thin fabric in there. I mean, it's just thin. It's like paper thin fabric. So at the top of the case, I mean, this is a high-end case right here. You know, I mean, it's a lot of tooling, a lot of, you know, I don't know how much you charge for it, you know, but if I did this case with all this work that's on it and everything, I would probably charge at least $1,000 or more. So you got some padding in the top. See, you guys can see that? You got some padding in the top, some padding in there, right? And then right below it, nothing. It's just thin. It's paper thin. So my point is, what's the point of the padding in the top if you're going to leave it open like this at the bottom with, what is that? Like, that's like 4 or 5 inches of flat out empty space. You know? I mean, I don't get it. Now this guy, Roger Asuncao, I think that's how you pronounce it, Asuncao. Thank you. Asuncao. He has a brand that he calls Volturi, which is, you know, I look this stuff up, so I like to know things. Well, Volturi is the vampire super race from the Twilight series of books. You know, the vampire teenager series, sparkly vampires and all that stuff. And well, the Volturi are the ancient super race, so they're the top tier blood sucking vampires that never die. And looking at this case, I would say that's an appropriate name for it, because it sucks money out of your wallet and leaves you drained and gives you nothing for it except death, or in this case, shrinking leather. I mean, what is the purpose of a case if these guys can't even get it right? Years ago with this Volturi dude, you know, I say Volturi dude, Roger, we'll just call him Roger, right? This guy Roger hounds me for a year, a solid year. Every day we talk back and forth. He's always asking me questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? And I send him diagrams. I go in the shop. I do a little video here and there. One time he begged me for interiors. He said, man, I'm out. My guy, you know, I can't get him. Can you help me out? So even we were short at that time, and I still sent him interiors. He still owes me to this day $600. You know, I mean, the guy's not unfamiliar to me. And then he copies what we do with something I invented on the pockets, and I compliment him on it. I said, I personally take it as like validation that I contributed something back to the leather making industry by inventing a technique that I had not seen anyone do ever. And he took it and did it on his cases, and you know, I mean, it's a good innovation. It allows the zippers to go around the rectangular pockets. Nobody that I had ever seen had done it before. But now they can have that nice boxy pocket look and still have a nice, easy access to the pocket. And all I said was, great. I said, I actually made a video tutorial and a tutorial, PDF tutorial for everybody in the leatherworking community about how to do that zipper style. So there's no possible way that I could ever be mad at anybody doing it. And I wasn't. I said, using, not copying, using my style, I thought it was great. I am, if there's a few things that I can at least give back to this industry that live, or go beyond me, that are actually helpful to people, I think that's great. And I think it's great that if I give it away, that other leather workers think there's value in it and pick it up and use it. So what does this dipshit Roger do? He takes it as an insult, claims that they've been doing pockets that way for 20 years, which is completely untrue. First of all, the guy has not been making cases, but he's referring to 20, 30 years ago making bags or something for somebody, and a totally different pocket style. So, and even then, I have no clue if that's even true, whether he was actually doing any of that work 20, 30 years ago or not. But even so, he definitely wasn't doing this. So dipshit takes offense. He goes off, oh, we're not copying anything you do, and we were doing this for 20 years. And I mean, just completely off the rails. So, that sets off another fucking case war. And so dipshit trades one of his cases to one of my customers, gets the case over back into Indonesia, and takes it apart and looks inside, takes pictures of it, from the inside out, and he finds that we have bonded a thinner leather to a to a woven fiber board, the same thing they use in tennis shoes, antimicrobial, antibacterial, and we just take, that's stuff they use in a freaking, $20 billion industry, or however big the shoe industry is. It's good enough for them. It's good enough for us. So we use it too when we have to bond the material to a different substrate where it's going to hold up and last. We do that. So dipshit starts to call me Captain Cardboard, and he posts these pictures, and I just took the pictures and I pointed out all the extra strength, extra features that we did on the case. I just used his own picture, made a poster out of it, and used it for our advertising. It always amuses me that these guys, they think that they can just get me, They think that there's something that they know better than me, something that I haven't seen or I haven't done, and they're just going to go and tear my case apart and catch me, Oh, we caught the great John Barton making a mistake. Well, first of all, I don't build perfect cases, but these guys are such idiots, they wouldn't be able to know the difference anyway. Think about that for a second. Think about that. They're coming up after me making cases. They don't have the staff we do. They don't have the experience I do. They don't have the breadth of knowledge I do. They're coming up after me. They can't even get themselves out of one style of case, I mean, this dipshit Roger, he's tried to make butterflies or whatever. I mean, the guy's a mess. He's a pure mess, right? But, he turns out a pretty case. This is a pretty case. This is a nice looking case. It really is. Unfortunately, it's a piece of junk. So, it's possible for someone to do a good job on one part of a case and do a really shitty job on the actual case part of the case, which is the case we have here. So yeah, it's just funny to me that when these guys go to these lengths, right, to try to get me, and in this guy's case, it's Captain Cardboard. First of all, it's not cardboard, it's fiberboard, as you should know if you're such an industry expert as you claim. And secondly, It's what everybody does who's any good at leatherworking when they need to strengthen a material. Okay? So if you're not doing it, sorry, buddy, you're out of the loop. But anyway, I digress. It's especially funny when I get the opportunity to take these guys' cases apart. And first of all, I'm not paying for this. My buddy who got these cases, who got dicked over by Roger Asumcow, the master vampire Volturi bloodsucker, gave me these 2 cases to try to salvage for him. He can't sell them anyway. They got his name all over them. But just to at least make useful cases out of them. And then I open the case. I open up the case and I find out that the guy did something like this in here, you know? I mean, that's literally like 4 inches plus. Even at that, where this ends, it's just paper thin. All these cues are clacking against each other. I mean, anything falls into the case, it's just rubbing, going, you know, scratching up whatever's down there. I mean, this is just the stupidest possible way to build this style of interior, you know? Actually, the only one stupider is that stupid asshole that makes Omega cases, you know? Him and him ought to get together and make their own Dumb and Dumber movie. You know, seriously. So anyway, the reason I'm doing this is not even recording, is it? Oh, it's still recording. Great. Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because I got another of these Volturi cases, and I figured, you know what? These nails are so weak and everything's so weak on this thing. Let's just take it apart real quick, and we'll see what happens when we take these out. I mean, these are the most ridiculous. Look at this. This is how ridiculous this dipshit is. These aren't even nails. You know what that is? These are little split rivets that you put in for the pieces at the bottom. This dipshit put in. This is how he was cheating his customers way back in the day. He didn't even put in nails in here. So now I'm not going to be able to put that back in. I'm going to have to go find some nails somewhere that'll pass for the size that's in here. But that's unbelievable. Can you believe that shit? Look at this. This dickhead put nails in here thinking that was going to do... These aren't even nails. He put like these brads in here. These are split. You take these and you split them. So you know, like on the in-stroke cases, you see those little plastic feet that are on there? Ow. You know I was going to do that. You know those little plastic feet that are on the end of in-stroke cases, the little tiny ones? These are the brads that go up inside and then they fold open on the other side of the wood to hold it in place, but they always get loose. That's why they're always moving. Unbelievable. So, you know, it's like what I'm saying is to me, this is like a comeuppance with these guys, because now I get to take shit apart. If you take something apart that I built 5 years ago, 6 years ago, like this case right here, for example, the one I'm repairing it right now, I'm doing some repair on it, but this dang case right here is at least 6, 7 years old. It's at least 6 or 7 years old, and it's as good as day one as far as the construction and everything. I mean, you're not going to find like sorry ass construction on this case compared to the cases we make now, right? So that was really good construction. Now there was a few little things that we did then that we found out later we could do even better. But that's a 7-year-old case. It's working perfectly. You know? I mean, and the guy's he's had better protection from day one with this case than this guy did with these cases every moment that he ever carried any cues in them. It's ridiculous. I mean, I cannot, when I look at this shit, I'm just like, are you kidding me? I mean, this is like a stone cold joke right here. This right here, that is so stupid ridiculous right there. That's not unbelievable. See, and this is what happens. This guy Roger Volturi, I mean, he picked the perfect name. I got to give it to him for that. You know, Volturi, like blood-sucking vampire. That's it. You know, or vulture. Yeah, it sounds more like vulture. That's right. Because this guy right here, his only goal in life, really, in my opinion, is just to defraud people. You know, there's a lot of people that I know. There's some stories that I put out there of customers that he's defrauded, and man, he's literally one of those dudes that's robbed Peter to pay Paul. That's pretty much it. All right, so what do we got going on here now? So now we got something even different. See, even from case to case, this guy's so different in the way he builds cases. It's nuts. Like, he can't figure shit out, you know? Oh, okay, there's another Brad there. There we go. He must have had to drill holes to put these in. He couldn't possibly nail them in. So he drills holes, then he sticks them in. I mean, at least you could glue them in or something, right? He doesn't even glue them in. It's crazy. That is truly, truly crazy. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, goodness. How's this one built? All right, well, we'll try it the hard way. I'll be right back. Where's that test cue we were using? What? Where's that cue we were using? Right here? There we go. All else fails, get brutal with it. It's going to be a long-ass video. Let's see if anybody's going to watch it. All right. You want to see what shit I talk, right? Yeah. One dude goes the other day, he goes, "You're just like Trump. You're always on Facebook talking shit about your competitors." And I said, "Yeah, but unlike Trump, I actually have the truth on my side." Right. You know, I got the evidence, and I'm not afraid to show it. That's what that's all about right there, I'm telling you. You know? So, let's see what we got going on here. This ought to be good. All right, so here we got this glued straight to the wood, and then we got a big old hunk of foam rubber there. Now, this is closed cell foam. The reason that you don't, aspiring case makers out there, the reason that you don't put this in the bottom of your case is because what happens is it starts to get torn up. See? It'll start to get, once it starts tearing, it starts getting all inside your case. Now, do you know what a magic eraser is? You guys know what a magic eraser is? A magic eraser is basically melamine. It's a form of this. But this can be nice and scratchy too. So when this is rubbing up and down your cues, getting a little hard balls and everything all in there because the case maker didn't have enough sense to understand that putting shafts and cues and pins and things on here is going to tear up this foam. Now it's all going to be inside your case and you're going to be wondering, where's all that foam coming from? All right, so that much aside. Oh, and let's not forget, it's a really good idea if you can get your screws all the way into the actual wood on here. So, yeah. And I guess these are all the holes where all those brads were stuck in there, right? Very crafty right there. All right, so anyway, let's take a look here and see what we got. Now, so on this one, we have the wood stopping right there, and the foam comes almost all the way down to the to where the cavities end here. Almost, not quite. Still got a big old gap in there. See that? I mean, but this one is a little bit better because he's at least got foam rubber, you know, other than just paper thin. He's got some foam rubber inside between the parts, so if the parts don't come all the way out, you know, this, as long as this lasts and isn't torn up, you know, would provide, if it's close enough. Let's see, stops right about there, so you still got about an inch of space in there, which makes it even more likely that this stuff's going to tear out because your cues are moving from side to side at the bottom. So a little bit crazy. All right, and then here this has come off, but it doesn't matter because I have to take this out anyway. Oh, and guess what? You want to hear something funny here? This is You remember I told you earlier, I said that that the guy, I said he didn't use any of our tubes. I'll bet you that's our tube right there. I'll bet you that's exactly my 4x8 size. What do you guys bet? Let's see where we can find one. I'll show you. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Not that one. That's an old one. Find a new one. 4x8, 4x8. Where are you? I mean, it might not be, but I'm pretty sure it's our tube. Alright, here's 4x8 top. Let's see. Nope, not our tube, maybe. Good. That'd be hilarious. I thought it was like our old 4x8 tube, but I guess not. Alright, anyway. Oh, I see how dirty it is in here. No, it's definitely not ours. So, alright, so what I got to do now is I got to figure out how to take this apart. Take this tube out of here, so I'm not sure how hard that's going to be. Let's find out. Oh. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Figure that out, see what we can do. The one part on here where he actually, you know, listened was to fit the leather tightly to the body. Unfortunately for him, he probably did it while the leather was still too moist, and that's why it shrank. So now it's going to be even tighter on the body than when he put it on. So that's going to make my life a little bit more difficult here trying to get this interior fixed. So, my friend who owns the case, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer on that one. Let's see on this one now, whether this one here, so this is the one I showed you guys earlier, where he's got like at least a ½ an inch of extra, you know, and again, this is going to be tightly, you know, you put this on when it's a little bit moist or wet or something, and it's just going to shrink right up, you know. And any competent leather worker knows that, you know, already, and then they would have accounted for that, which we do on our cases, you know. So now he's got some deal where he's like putting leather over the top and sewing it through the body or something like that. He's like got an extra leather piece. I mean, it's Buckminster Fuller used to say, if a design is not elegant, if it's not beautiful, then it's not finished. So just because you slap a piece of leather over here on the top, you know, to act as a sort of a, you know, suspenders or something to hold the leather up to stop it from shrinking, you haven't really solved the problem. You're just putting a band-aid over it that's ugly. So that's, you know, that's pretty much what's going on with that case. I mean, the yeah, this right here is going to be a pain. Because the problem is, you know, is when it gets that tight on the body, it's almost impossible for me to get this tube out without further deconstructing the case. Which even then it's hard because the tube needs to come out to start taking these rivets off, and I'm pretty sure that the owner of the case does not want to spend the money to more or less rebuild this case. But I'm in it, so I'll figure it out. But I just want to let you guys know, you know, watching this, that it's really not what you can see on the outside. These two cases right here are you know, they're beautiful. They're innovative. They got, you know, this is actually to me some of the best work that Roger's people. Now, Roger doesn't do the cases. He doesn't do the tooling. He's not sitting there making the cases or tooling them like he pretends that he is. So he's a straight up liar about that. But his people. He's got people. He's got some staff there, to do this stuff. He's got a graphic designer, and to that end, these two cases right here, they really look great. I mean, he did one thing that I hate, and I see it all the time with him, is he puts together the cases with rivets. He does these flowing designs that flow over the parts, like this. Check this out. You got like this blue kind of thing going on here. It just flows right over the case, right around it, right? Like very seamless. Except for this big ass line of rivets that's not even straight, by the way. This big ass line of rivets here right through the art. So what's the purpose of doing all this nice tooling and this art right here if you're just going to put rivets right through it, right? Why don't you design for the space and design around them, or design a rivet pattern that works with it? You know what I mean? Or do some lacing or some innovative kind of back or something like that. There's a ton of things you can do, especially since he's using a laser engraver to lay all this down before they do any tooling. So, it's not like he has to worry about the person that's carving, screwing up the letters or anything, because the letters are all laser engraved. So I think, that aside from the construction issues on this case, that's one of the prettiest cases, pool cue cases, that I've ever seen. It's really good work. But the problem is the guy is relying too much on how the cases look rather than how they're actually built. And I have 3 Volturi cases. All 3 of them are different. 2 of them are missing, several inches of the interior. The reason that I have them is because all 3 of them were built defective for the customers, and the customers ended up with no satisfaction from Roger. So they finally ended up so disgusted with the whole thing that they just traded me for JB cases. So yeah, that's how, that's how I ended up with them, because this guy is a guy that doesn't have the time to do it right the first time, as the saying goes. So how in the hell is he going to have time to do it right the second time? He is literally like the Bernie Madoff of pool cue cases right now. He's literally taking money from new customers just to satisfy old customers that he screwed over. I mean, that's the dynamic. And then the old customers, sometimes they never even get any satisfaction at all if he can successfully like ignore them or block them or string them along for years before they finally get mad. That's like having a free loan, So yeah, I mean, that's, it's just a comeuppance to see, guys like this who jump in the industry. There's no barrier to entry, so there's nobody holding them accountable. There's no need for them to be super honest, especially when a dude's in Indonesia. He knows that you send him his money. So what? You're never coming to Indonesia after him, 100%, not for that money. So he already knows that, and when a guy knows that, he's got power over you. All he's got to do is say the right things and be attractive enough, and you're going to send him money. And then if you get a great product that works and you never ever have any problems, great. You're lucky. Good job, But if you don't, you're just flat out screwed, So if you wait a long time for the product, then you finally get it and it's wrong, then you're screwed, because you're not getting your money back. You're not getting a new case. Because if the guy could build cases correctly, he'd already be building cases, especially what's he been doing this now, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. If he was interested in building a good case, he would be building good cases, but he's not. So, he's interested in building one style of case the way he builds it. And, he's interested in ripping off Jack Justice. I mean, the bulk of cases that he sells are basically Jack Justice's iconic, 3 diamond design that he did. Which, anybody can do cases with diamonds and all that. That's not what it's about. But when you take one person's like signature style and you start just like riffing on it a little bit, and that's all you do, and then you don't even have the balls to give the credit, where credit's due, and say, yeah, Jack was my inspiration. I took this design, and since then I've done it in a whole bunch of different ways and styles, and whatever. And my customers love it, as they should, because they loved it when Jack was doing it, and now I'm doing my own thing with it, and it's like the best of both worlds. I mean, you could say anything like that and give credit at least to where you got the design, instead of taking credit when anybody appreciates that design. When you put that out on the web, and someone's like, oh, that's awesome, right? You don't know in their mind if they like the diamond patterns that you took from Jack, or they like the florals that you put around the diamonds that you took from Jack, or maybe you did something completely different where you did the diamonds and then a little bit of vine work and then something else. But you don't know what percentage of that design they are giving praise for. So if you just preface it by, this is my take on the Jack Justice, 3 diamond design. Well, then when they praise you for it, you know that you earned that praise, because they're not praising you because you stole Jack Justice's design. They're praising you because you gave credit and you did your own thing with it that they really like. That's the difference between a person who copies solely for profit and does it maliciously with no intention of ever acknowledging the people that went before him, or her, and someone who's truly interested in innovating, and bringing something new to the industry, or bringing something new to the genre. And I think that I am that. And fortunately, I have a shop where I can play around with stuff and in my crude way, and then I can have my people refine it and make it better and make it how I want it, so it starts as my idea, but it becomes a collaborative effort where their skill, plus my desire ends up being something new, something useful, something more protective. And that's how I like to think of how we approach this. I don't think that we've been as innovative as I want us to be. I know that, my dream, for example, is to have a prototype workshop where everybody in there is making like one-of-a-kind cases all the time, prototypes, and then we're feeding the rest of that to the floor. And it's just madhouse with all the mad scientist stuff that we could do with that type of setup. But unfortunately, with the way that we're set up there in China and our workshop and everything, that's a ways off if it's ever going to happen. I don't know. I may try to start building cases over here or something. But the point of it of all of this is to show you guys, as I said, you got to know what's inside your case. You just have to. If you care about your cues at all, you just have to ask, and you just have to question. And if you get lied to, you have to tell these people that are selling you this crap, you have to say, look, if I find out that this case is not built like you say it is, can I get my money back? Are you going to be responsible for anything broken because the case was not built correctly? And if you can't get satisfactory answers to that, I would stay away. I would stay far away no matter how pretty the case is. Because to me, it's just a waste of money. And if it's a case that they say, like the other knockoff dipshit over there who's like, he has these cases that look like ours, our rugged cases, and then he puts them up at like $220 or whatever, and ours, an equivalent model would be like $260. Something like that, right? I mean, he puts them up at $220 and then he drops the price to like $185 or whatever, and then he goes to shows and he sells them for $97, and then he throws a fucking toaster in, and and you might get a fucking Toyota on the next trip or something. The basic concept there is that that the more worthless something is, the more shit they've got to throw at you to buy it, and that's really the tricks of the people who don't know how to build quality. They don't know what quality is. All they can do is sell on price. you know, and if you're not biting on the price they have, they go, wait a minute, there's more, you know, but wait, there's more, but wait, there's more, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? It's the same infomercial late night stuff, and you know, those commercials, they serve a purpose. They get products out in the market, you know, but they also go for the impulsive, gullible buyer. And you know, that's what these people are counting on when they sell you junk disguised as a pool cue case. They just know that you're gullible and you won't know. There's likely to be not any way that you're ever going to see what's actually inside the case. They oftentimes don't even know themselves. So my point is, you know, is you guys are paying a lot of money for your instruments. You're paying a lot of money for your cues. And those cues deserve great padded, real, true padded protection. And that's what you get with us, you know, and I've never wavered from that. We've been doing the same thing. I've been doing the same thing, you know, since 1991. I can show you my cases on the wall over here that I built, you know, back in like 91, 92, and in my basement, and they're going to exhibit the same characteristics of protection and padding as the cases that we have today. And the cases today are even better than the ones I was building back then. So all these knockoff artists and all these new case makers that come out, you got to ask them, you got to say, is protection truly your first goal when you build this case? You know, I take this case apart, am I going to find my cues fully protected? Or am I going to find that you skimped out and you cheaped out after the first 3 inches of the case? And what's with the missing 4 or 5 inches at the bottom? What's with that? What's your purpose behind that? How does that protect my cue? You know, what does that do for my cue in this case to stop it from being damaged? Anything? I mean, you know, convince me here as a buyer why you put paper thin material below the first couple inches and then you didn't even finish it all the way. There's another 3 or 4 inches down there, you know, of just empty air for no apparent reason. So ask your case maker that, you know. None of you are going to do it, but anyway, I'm giving you what I would do, you know. But I would only do that now because I know the difference, right? I've taken these things apart. Most people never have they never take it apart. And then you get your cue and you're wondering, like, where did these dings come from? Where do these scratches come from? You know? You don't think that your case could be the problem. I'm sitting here telling you the case can be a problem. Now, what does that mean for me as a case maker? It means that I'm telling you that my case is generally not going to be the problem for your cues getting damaged while they're inside my case. And if you ever do have a problem, you can send the case back to me and I will take my cues and I will try to duplicate the problem. I will try on your behalf to damage my cues in the case that I built for you. And I will film it all, which I've done several times for customers. And I will film it. And worst case scenario, I'll cut the case open, you know, and look for anything possible that we could have done that would have damaged the cue. So I do that sometimes even if I can't damage my cues. A customer will insist. He will say, for sure, there's something in there, for sure. So then I'll cut it open. I'll destroy the interior so that they can see that there's nothing in the case that could have possibly hurt their cue. These are the lengths that I go to make sure that our cases are actually protecting the cue and not damaging or contributing to damaging the cues. So what is that worth to you guys? I don't even know what it, you know, what should it be worth?
Peace of mind.
You know? Peace of mind. Peace of mind, right? What is preventative maintenance worth on your car? You know? Is it more expensive to get an oil change when it needs an oil change, or 30,000 miles past that oil change? You know what I'm saying? So everybody knows this, you know? Everybody knows that the more you can prevent something from happening, that you don't have any costs afterward. You just continue to use it. So what's not broken does not need to be fixed, correct? So if your cue does not get broken or scratched or damaged or dinged in some way while it's inside the case, then, and it doesn't get broken, dinged, scratched, or whatever while it's outside the case in your hands because you're careful with your stuff, then there's no need to repair it, is there? Is there? You're not going to pull your cue out one day and go, oh, gee, what's this? What are these scratches from? What are these nicks from? What are these dings from? Right? Why does my tip feel gooey? Stuff like that. The other day I bought a case from a guy, one of the knockoffs. He bought a case from us and I bought his old case from him. And I open it up and there's $5 in change just swirling around in the bottom like a washing machine. You know? Quarters. With, quarters with the ridged edges. How would you like to have a $3,000 cue in your case and you got $5 a quarter swishing around there, going up in any cavity they want to, lodging in there, wedging in, wedging out, scratching? Wouldn't that be fun? And especially if you didn't even know they were there because you forgot that you left the quarters open in your lid and they fell down and you've been bouncing around in your car, for a couple days since the last time you played pool or whatever. You don't even remember they're there. Maybe you got stoned. Who knows? But you get my point, right? The case shouldn't allow that to happen. Yet, it did. And the customer, not only did he not have any way to know that the coins were in there, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't hear them when it was bouncing around, but anyway. Not only did he not know that they were there, he didn't really have any good way to get them out. Even if he knew they were there, he could sit there and shake the case all day, but those coins were going to get lodged in there, and they just weren't going to come out. So it would have been a pain in the butt. He would have been able to get a lot of them out, by fishing them out and messing with it and everything. But the reality is that he wouldn't have gotten them all out, and he never would have known if he got them all out, And so they're just stuck there. But with our case, you just pull the interior out, shake them down, fish them out. You can feel it in there. You feel that they're not there, and you're good to go. So that's an innovation. That's something that we worked on. We developed. We figured it out. We went through some trials, where we went through some cases where we sent cases out, and then the little piece broke, and so people would call us up, hey, my interior broke. Now the interior still worked. Everything still worked perfectly. It was just not perfect. It wasn't perfectly seated. It was squeezed in a little. So we send out new interiors. That's the whole intention, right? Pack up a new interior, ship it out under warranty. Guy puts it in. 5 minutes after he gets it, he's got a perfectly appearing and working case just like he bought it, but brand new. So, I mean, these are innovations that we put into it. While these other dudes are out there still trying to figure out how to even build a case at all, we're so far beyond them, as far as what we're doing. Our stuff is so tight that's why we can give you lifetime warranty. That's why we're confident in our work. And that's why I'm never, ever afraid. Never ever am I afraid of any of my competitors. I don't care who they are. I am never afraid of them taking my case, taking it apart on video, and critiquing it. If they think they've got something, if they think they've found something negative about the way we build our cases, something that's harmful to cues or not as strong as it should be or something, go for it. Feel free to tell me all about it. And if you're right, I'll fix it. If you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. So if you're just trying to be malicious and you're going to say the wrong stuff, then I'm going to make you look foolish. I'm going to make you look foolish. And if you do happen to find something where you're like, well, this is definitely going to hurt cues or whatever, something that I missed, I'm human, I could miss something, then the very next batches of cases that we make, within a few days, are going to have an improvement that solves that problem. If you actually manage to identify a problem that needs to be solved, we solve it that quickly. So that's why You go for it, you guys. I'm never afraid of anybody coming to my booth in public, filming it. You know, let's do a public dissection. You want to bring your case and you want to compare it to my case? You think your case can do it if you're a case maker? Bring it. You know, if you're a customer who thinks your case is the shit and it's just as good as JB or better than JB, then bring it. Prove it. All you're going to do, if you can prove it, is help your favorite case maker sell more cases. You know, that's it. Especially if you're better than we are. You know, that'll be embarrassing for me, won't it? So bring it. Because here's what's going to happen. Here's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to say, well, I don't know that I'll be embarrassed. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that anybody can't build a better case than me, but obviously I don't want to get that takedown on video, on live video. But if it happens, I'm going to go, awesome. I'll have my version of it next week. Because if you actually bring something that's better than what we've done, then I, in good conscience, cannot refuse to offer my customers the better version. So I got to do it. So unless you got something that's patentable, that you've patented, you know, that I have to license from you, I'm going to copy what you did. Okay? I'm going to say, good job on the innovation. You are now, for this week at least, the number one case on the planet as far as I'm concerned, out of my, you know, my judgment. And next week will be equal to you in that aspect of whatever it is. And the week after that probably will have passed you again. And if you pass me again, great. All the people who win in that situation are the customers, right? You got two guys competing to be the best case in the world, protect the best, do this, be the lightest, greatest, toughest, whatever. Then that just means that you as customers have two great choices. So that's it. So bring it. You guys think you're better than me? Bring it. And that includes everybody, even my friends and my colleagues, guys I love dearly, guys that do fantastic work. You know, if there's anybody out there, anybody, I just want to be perfectly clear. If you think your work, your case is more protective or better than ours or tougher than ours, bring it. Let me see it. Prove it. And if you got a knockoff, I know it's not better than ours. And I wish you would come to my booth so we can have a good old-fashioned throwdown and we can tear the cases apart and I can show everybody exactly how shitty your knockoff is. Okay? But on the off chance somebody builds a knockoff that's better than the original, bring that too. I'll be embarrassed and then I'll just adapt. Okay? All right. You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.